Alright, there we go. Finally got it right. Ah, fuck.
You went British rather than Scottish.
Fuck accent slip.
Ah.
My American accent's rubbish. It's not like anyone was buying it anyway.
Meh.
Oh, shit. Just closed Discord. Fuck me.
Well, you're still on and we could still hear you, so...
Yeah,
Just stay out of here. We don't want you here anyways.
I won't be able
Well, that was a little mean, Zane.
I won't be able to be here next week, so that won't be interesting. I mean, we could... I don't know if you two will be able to, but I'll be able to come.
I don't know. I'm gonna spend the next few weeks finishing up doing work and then saying goodbye to all my friends. So I might just be like not at home for like a week straight too.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna be in Kansas.
Lovely.
When you leave, you gotta say we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Yeah, I've done so
I
already.
bless the raid down in Africa.
Yeah.
Anyways, chapter 18. How about it?
Yeah, this is what are we reading in case you didn't read the fucking title, so...
It's not like anyone
It's WAWR.
introduced themselves.
do we have to introduce ourselves at this point in time? This is a pretty long-running series.
I mean, we might as fucking well.
I'm Tom.
I'm like,
I'm a notebook with words on it.
Handy-dandy notebook.
Yep.
We found a clue.
Damn, I should have said I was Giovanni.
Oh, fuck, so you can just be a massive cunt that no one likes. Got ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Ugh.
Chapter 18.
Thump. Terry's penis is feeling quite moody today.
You do this joke every single time.
And I'm gonna keep making it every single time.
I mean, what is it even from?
Ross's Read Along Super Deluxe. We can
I'll
talk
have to-
about that later, though.
I'll have to look that up.
Oh, fuck, I just realized that, like, two sessions ago, I mentioned, like, the flying vampire car that almost made it into the room, and then never followed up on explaining that.
Well, last episode we repeated a chapter, so you might as well just,
Yeah, this is even more of a train wreck than last session.
And that's saying something.
Only professionals on this podcast.
Ha!
I
Professionals.
wish I were dead.
Situation normal. We all wish that, Llytic.
Yeah.
Are we gonna start reading, though?
Possibly. I don't know anymore.
Start reading. Maybe you'll figure it out.
Richard Isaacs stood gazing out the window from the 32nd floor executive office, Atlanta at his feet. The streets were empty below, but for a few pedestrians dashing for cover underneath their umbrellas. The bombs were dropping. The umbrellas would do nothing. Timing was everything in this business. He couldn't make a killing when people are dying due to bombs, especially when you had it planned for their death because it was someone else's bombs and not yours. Business thrived on stability and growth, and sometimes bombings. And for that stability, sometimes you had to pay cutthroats and bomb droppers.
And actually cut people's throats. He heard the soft click as the door to the bedroom opened behind him, or maybe it was a bomb about to go off in his office. He didn't care anymore.
The man's broad shoulders and slim builds made his silhouette against the window belly. Belie. Silhouette against the window belie how close he was to retirement before the bombs went off, retiring him even earlier. As if you would retire in the middle of the biggest hand of your life, now when you're playing cutthroats and bombs.
He turned. The sunlight slanting in through the window shimmered from the obsidian tresses of Callie Archer. She glided into the room, perfect as always. She may have been wearing widow's black, but the swell of her breast and the shift of her hip against silk assured him she wouldn't be alone for long. Because that's how that works, apparently.
Huh.
Not if he had anything to do with it. Lovely. Stability. All of them needed to be in Richard Isaac's pocket. Everyone will be in my pocket. I shall keep them with me always. And then I'll sometimes just take them out and set them down on the table and watch them just fuck around.
Literally.
Oh, The Sims.
Not like that!
You're right. They're gonna woohoo.
God damn it. Did you know that the songs in that, like the Simlish songs, are the actual singers of the originals?
Seriously?
I want
Yeah.
you to sing your song, but in Simish. What?
They actually have like the game creators do the Simlish lyrics. And then the original singers have to sing it in Simlish.
That's what. Yeah.
Katy
Jeez.
Perry's done like 3 songs, I want to say. And singers love doing it because they find it hilarious.
That's actually really cool.
If it was going to keep his ship on course.
Archer Industries must thrive. He had invested too much in what he knew about this company, the way it operated, and the under-the-table tricks Henry Archer had used to build it, and the bombs. All good products do not make a company great. Most of it was knowing how to manipulate money and power in the markets, to find the loopholes in the laws, trade just a little closer to the inside than many might feel comfortable doing. And when the players get nervous, when they start worrying that their house of cards might fall, it was Richard who knew just where to leak the word to investigators to break up the game. And when the dust settled, Isaacs always walked away unscathed with obscene amounts of cash in his pocket and ever more power. It was Henry Archer who had taught Richard the game at which Richard excelled.
Archer Industries had been poised to make the next great leap. Richard and Henry planned to bring Isaac Stevens, a heavy if there ever was one, into the corporate battleground filled with bombs. But he'd crossed Richard one too many times, the last when he'd forced his daughter Irene to end her relationship with Richard. Ugh. I love it when people do that. It makes me barf. Right there, loudly, on the grounds of the polo clubs before hundreds of Atlanta's most well-heeled citizens. Stevens would give Isaacs the distance he needed when they started taking over their rivals, company by company, and piecing them out, converting the stock options, doing the deals, raking in the dough, and bombs. And if someone must fall, all along the plan had been to take Isaac down while Archer's Industries subsidiaries concealed the deals. Richard and Henry were too good at this game to fail. They'd only miscalculate once in their 30-year partnership. They hadn't expected Archer to drive off a cliff. Oh.
I just imagined a bomb-based currency where stuff has value, where the money has value because you have to be careful with it, otherwise it might explode.
Now my headcanon is that's the currency in the Bomberman universe.
Oh god, you buy
Imagine you
everything with bombs.
You can't leave your money sitting around for a while. You have to spend it, or else it'll fucking explode on you.
Whenever you buy something with it, the timer resets.
Huh. It takes a whole
At
new meaning
random
to burn
intervals,
a
too.
hole in your pocket, doesn't it?
Oh shit, I really have some cash to burn. Kelly gave Isaacs a bear nod, as opposed to a clothed nod. A hint of a smile as she turned her back to him and walked along the bookcases that lined one wall. She ran her fingers along the spines, accidentally cutting her fingers open on them. Fuck, I lost my place. Letting them linger on the masters, books that had never been cracked. Well, I'm really concerned if the book cracks. I don't think they're supposed to be quite that solid.
Yeah, that would be...
This book is made of ice. This one's made of glass.
This one's made of dirt.
I don't think that will crack.
Dried dirt.
This one's made of bone.
That would actually be really cool, a book made of bone.
Of course, Henry Archer was too important to be troubled by reading fiction, poetry, plays. But a wealthy man who built his company from nothing needed a library. What's the word I'm looking for? Out of principle. Whatever.
There we go.
And he needed to surround himself with art and accoutrements that demonstrated he was a thinking man, even though there was nothing going on upstairs.
Lights are on, but no one's home. Is that elevator music? Oh yeah, Cosmo's head is completely empty.
You put like you like lean close to his head and you just hear like Jeopardy music coming out of his ear. All right. But Henry's passions were the machinery of business, economics, and industry. Those were the well-thumbed books closest to the desk. And his passions had been serious as well. Invention, transportation, and keeping his wife content. That's why his favorite book was the Kama Sutra.
Oh, jeez.
The last mattered most to Callie, of course. If memory serves, only like 10% of that book is actually sex positions. She would be well cared for. Her prenuptial agreement assured her of that. But prestige was something a little harder to come by in this city. And with a background like hers, prestige came from marrying well.
At last, she settled in the seat behind that massive, imposing desk from which Henry Archer ran his world.
Jesus Christ. Hold on.
Sorry, I'm just distracted by the WikiHow article you posted.
Of course.
That is a serious problem.
Is it?
For Tom.
Haha. Jokes.
Mostly
Because
at Mike's.
Tom, the guy who I had to explain body shots to, totally masturbates to bees.
Yes, who wouldn't? B-movie was made for a reason.
You like jazz?
You like jizz?
Jazz!
You wanted to see me? Callie asked him pointedly, one brow arched up, almost lost in a lock of hair. Oh, that's hair, not her.
Hair!
With a lock of hair that had drifted lower on her brow, like the question mark punctuating her sentence.
Look at her drifted down. I know this is a difficult time for you, Mrs. Archer, but you must understand the business of the company must move forward. It's been moving backwards for quite a while, and it's really concerning. Richard said brusquely. Brusquely.
Brusquely.
Brusquely. Bruce Lee.
Bruce
He
Lee.
bent over the desk toward... Sorry, my mind drew a completely different image when it said that he was bent over the desk.
Okay, then.
She likes to be the one on top, regardless of the position.
Oh, jeez.
His ruddy cheek so close to hers, she could see his pores. She leaned back, a little, then followed his gaze that had been so briefly touched on her breast before it moved to linger at her throat, which he thought about biting and draining the blood from. As it turns out, he was in fact a vampire.
That would make the story so much more interesting.
In her hair, and was pulled deep into her eyes.
Yeah, that's what he's looking at.
I hate it when people touch me with their gazes.
Henry and I spoke at length about the direction the company needs to take to be competitive, Richard crooned as he gazed into her eyes. This company was a passion of his, you know, and I was about to help him double, triple its value. You need someone in place to make those new decisions now that Henry can't.
Have you tried Google?
I recognize that second artist, and I wish I didn't.
Why, Mr. Isaacs? I'm so pleased to hear your confidence in me, she said demurely?
Demurely.
Demurely. Though he could see the devil lurking behind those eyes of her, it kindled
Not sure how
the
he
flames.
fit back there.
Ha! 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 Flames smoldering in her gaze. Of course, I hadn't had much experience running a company like Archer Industries, but sure, Henry would be pleased that it stayed in the family.
Stop it.
Please stop that.
Nope.
Laugh.wav initiated. Richard leaned back. Was she playing him as he was trying to play her? Fuck. What had fired up that spark in her eye? Apparently it was Satan. Again, not sure how he fit behind her eye, but...
I think it was a devil, not the devil.
He's just piloting her like a submarine, and it turns out this little, like, captain's chamber is right behind her eye.
Just imagine the face like opens up and it's like a little imp inside the face that's like driving it with like
Satan,
little
what
levers.
were you doing here?
Satan, you silly prankster. Get out of there.
Satan, you goof. That's another one of your jokes. Another gaff.
And then he sucks the souls of a nearby, like, minimum wage worker, and then
I'm just
runs away
about
laughing.
you got me, guys. It was me the whole time. I was just fucking with you.
Jeez. That would be hilarious.
Was she planning to take over the company? Did she have the gall to do something like that? With effort, he pulled his gaze from hers and strode to the window.
What's your game, Miss Archer? He asked, staring over Atlanta, his voice barely raising a little with unconcealed anger. You know you don't have the experience to run a company like this. Henry and I worked side by side for 30 years. He pounded one fist into his open other palm in rhythm to his words.
I need more pictures of Spider-Man!
We built this company together. I know what his plans were for growing the business, he said angrily. Apparently he's angry.
We built this company together.
And then he just starts going like...
Oh, God, no, it's like the whole clapping hand emoji thing whenever people do that, like, between words and texts. We built this company together.
It's more annoying when it's typed out, honestly.
Yeah.
I know what his plans were for growing the business.
So you think you should be running it? Callie asked, with what disarmingly... With that... Fuck.
God damn it.
I think Zane's dying.
Kelly asked with that
die.
disarmingly innocent gaze of hers, the one that seemed to flash like the lightning playing across the rooftops of Atlanta.
Oh God, I'm
swiftly
blind.
from chimney to gable until it reached its target with a burst of heat and smoke. That was Kelly Archer's gaze.
Fuck. He's blind now. Henry is now blind.
Satan needs to stop playing jokes like that.
I wouldn't presume to, Miss Archer. He enunciated somewhat crisply, turning from the window to lay a gentle hand on her shoulder. Bad touch. You were entitled as owner to the company to sit at its head, but Henry had plans for some time to bring in Isaac Stevens to coordinate some buyouts and sell-offs. All of it tricky and confusing, and more than a grieving wife should have to bear. Oh, fuck. Why did I think that was the end?
It's
he
not.
said in a tone Callie thought might be parental, or condescending, or even genuinely caring. I'm pretty sure it's more condescending.
Probably.
Did Richard Isaacs even know how to grieve for Henry Archer? Specifically for Henry Archer, not just in general. God damn it! God damn it!
What?
I saw that. I saw that. You know what you did?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You typed it out.
No, I didn't.
She was. She wasn't sure even if even she could grieve a man who treated his wife like any other baubles he collected to build his image. Fuck. You know what you did because you typed it out.
Ah, crap. I just accidentally closed out the thing somehow. I don't know.
God damn it.
What page are we on?
131.
Okay.
Halfway there. We're living on a prayer.
Richard read the hesitation in her eyes and leaned in closer over her shoulder. Oh, God. Let me guide you.
Stared directly down. Nice titties.
Let me guide you, Miss Archer. First, we bring on Stevens, as planned. Once he's stalled, he'll begin buying up Archer Industries. He'll begin buying up Archer Industries' competitors and dividing them up into existing divisions, then sell them off bit by bit, exercising options and building this company into the large cap company it ought to be. He turned her in the chair so that she faced him, the sunlight blinding on her dark waves of hair. The fire lit
now
again
she's blind.
The fire lit again in those eyes of hers as her breasts rose in breaths that seemed to quicken beneath his gaze.
Think of it, Miss Archer, Callie. Think of it, he explained. You can carry on your life as you always have, leaving these tedious business dealings to me. But the power will be yours. You will be Archer Industries. It'll be your books that line the walls, your charity events in the news, your parties the town will be talking about. Who knows? You may even find love again. Imagine a woman of your uncommon beauty and means would never need to be alone.
I imagine.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she's good.
alone, as if Callie didn't already know alone. Hadn't she survived 10 years as the bauble of Henry Archer? Callie Archer rose from her chair, faced Richard squarely, then turned on her heel. She again glided through the room, touching a sculpture here, a painting there. She was really just messing up everything and knocking shit off podiums and off the walls like she was some oversized house cat. At last coming to the broad mahogany doors out of her office, she then took out a screwdriver and began removing them. Her office. She turned. Isaac's was again a black silhouette against the blazing sunset. Fiery red, as if he were some demon standing at the open gates of hell. The entire boardroom had taken on a devilish glow.
She swept open the door.
I imagine I'll be meeting Mr. Stevens before I have the opportunity to hire him, she inquired.
He swept towards her, his silhouette resolving into a well-built man, only slightly older than Henry's 60 years, his face quickly fading from the silhouette of a dark demon to a ruddy-cheeked imp who looked like he'd be at home on a soccer field. Weird place for an imp.
If that's your wish, he offered deferentially.
It is, she said, catching her breath. Something about him made her heart pound as if she had agreed to work in a league with the devil himself. They both think the other's the devil.
Apparently. It's time for it to be about me, isn't it? She thought to herself.
Then you will meet him, he said forcefully. We have an agreement then. You'll accept my counsel? He thrust out his hand.
She took it in both of hers and leaned toward him, tilting her head to look him in the eye, her breast jostling within the black stained dress she wore.
Will
Sam,
you stop
I look
bringing up
forward
her
to working with you, she said as she handed him a handful of bombs.
This is the business deal currency, right? Wait, what?
They die. The
Again,
end.
she gave him that glinting glance. An almost wicked smile playing across her lips. What was her game? What was her game? Is it Pong? Snooker? Bomberman?
Probably Bomberman. Chapter 19. Arthur Nance looked around the country club parking lot, crowded with cars, minivans, and SUVs old and new, battered and gleaming, cheap and priceless. Squinting into the late afternoon sun, the cars reflected the red-tinged light off windshields and bumpers and mirrors and doorknobs like a pack of bicyclists caught in the searchlight late at night on a deserted road. Well, Jason, he said impatiently, do you recognize any of them?
Answered his nerdy young assistant. Sorry. No, Dr. Nance, answered his nerdy young assistant with a pocket protector and horn-rimmed glasses that he seemed to wear as a badge of honor. But I'm not a big car guy, you know that, and I haven't got all their cars in here yet anyway. He waved his sleek brushed chrome compact iPack in Arthur Nance's face as if Arthur could see that it was so light that he really couldn't have any cars in there yet. Ugh. I don't like how that was phrased.
Does anyone?
Don't think so.
Well, you'll have to work on that because I really hate it when I have to leave a place I wouldn't have gone into if I'd known whose car was parked out front, okay? Start on it tomorrow. Has it done by Miller's pool party on Saturday?
Okay, Dr. Nance, will do. Want me to go inside now?
Yeah, you do that, Jason.
Hate to see you leave, but I would love to watch you go.
Jeez.
You have an amazing ass, Jason.
In case that wasn't clear.
You
He
wish.
likes him some of that nerd ass.
What's up, run buns? Don't call me that. Oh, come on. You like to run and I like your buns.
Oh, jeez.
If anyone here hasn't seen 50% Off, you should watch it.
Oh,
It's
man.
amazing. Are you that guy that drowned someone in the pool? And then let that building on fire? He wished he could smoke a cigarette while he waited for Jason to return, but the gravel-top parking lot was just too public a place for one of Atlanta's top doctors to light up and hurt his image, which was of a trim, muscular, athletic medical genius who played a mean game of a racquetball with a golf disability of 2. He'd just have to wait until he got home, assuming he went home alone, which he rather doubted because so many women wanted him. What was his near-perfect body, huge mansion, and astronomical salary, that he almost never went home alone unless he felt like it. What the fuck?
My fucking phone. I'm not even looking at it or touching it, but I think Siri pulled up a video and
Why did it
pulled up
pull
an
up?
ad. Sorry about that.
I just heard that in the background. I was like, what the
Don't
fuck?
apologize. That was quite hilarious.
Like, I'm trying to comprehend what I just read, and I hear that shit going on in the background.
Behind his back, stiletto heels clicked, but not sharply and intensely like they would on wood or marble. Rather with a little sogginess to them, a sort of muffled slurping caused by their impacting asphalt that had gone soft and resilient in the hot Atlanta sun. He liked stiletto heels a lot, so he turned to see who was coming.
Thanks, I hate it.
It was Callie Archer, old Henry's widow. God, she was a looker with those glossy black tresses and fine hooters! She smiled and came towards him. Even though she was about 40, she still had an ass to die for. Although he was more of a leg and foot man. Ugh.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a foot fetish.
Which is why he preferred stiletto heels to pump or running shoes. Hello, Arthur, she said saucily, laying a
This is the
perfectly
same lady
manicured
from the
hand on
previous
his...
chapter. What happened between them?
I don't know, on his arm in a way that promised interesting things to come.
Chili dogs.
Chili dogs! If somebody touches you in a way that you don't like, that's no good.
No good.
This universe needs that Sonic TV show because everyone does the bad touch here.
Fucking hate that show.
Is Jason inside making sure it's safe for you to go in? What? I thought this was about putting cars.
Yes, he exclaimed, studying the smooth white fingers tipped in crimson and filed to glossy perfection. Was she arm deep in a corpse?
Yes.
Maybe she's the vampire.
She's just been stabbing people with her hands.
Well, I mean, if you're able to.
I mean, I would. But I prefer shovels.
I
Yes.
prefer shotguns.
Yes, but that's because you're a little bitch. Yes, he is. He
Axes
laughed.
too.
And seriously, any Joe Blogs can use a gun.
Mm-hmm. Axes
It's-
too, like I said.
It's fucking blasé.
And it's loud
Because-
and great.
Fuck. Fucking plebeian basic bitch. Because it was a joke between them, even though when you came right down to it, it didn't much amuse him when he wasn't with Callie.
Arthur Nance had a very poor memory for faces, especially women's faces, because he almost never looked at their faces, especially if they were wearing open-toed shoes with stiletto heels and had bright red polish on their toenails like Callie was. What the fuck?
There's nothing wrong with a foot fetish. It's better than the water sports from that other.
I mean, I'm not talking about the foot fetish. I'm talking about the way this is written. It's pissing me off.
he just always looks at feet. Oh shit, feet.
I could just imagine like these women just being like, "What are you looking at?" And he's just
Feet.
like, your boobs. Yeah, your boobs." Just trying to cover up the
My
fact that she's
boobs are
staring
up
at their
here.
feet. My boobs are up here. You're staring down more than other guys. What are you looking at?
Shins.
Jeez.
You have very nice shins.
When was the last time you shaved? Was it a few hours ago? Because God, did a really good job.
He had a fantastic memory for bare boobs and naked apses. Of
What?
course. But those weren't likely to be on display in the country club's party room, at least not so early in the evening. In fact, the only reason he recognized Callie was she'd been his patient for going on 20 years now. And after 20 years, it's hard not to recognize somebody, unless the light's bad or they've got a new haircut or something.
Which is why I like staring at feet. Feet don't change like hair.
I mean, unless they're like hobbit feet. Fucking mops. Mops with toes.
Pretty much.
Boy. So whenever he went, he took his assistant Jason with him because Jason not only had a photographic memory, he liked to look at women's faces, and besides, he had all their pictures in his Palm Pilot anyway, just in case.
Creepy.
I'm beginning to
Jason,
think.
what the fuck are you doing? Oh, I'm just taking pictures for reference.
It's going to my PDF, my personal digital filer.
Very, very personal.
Oh, jeez.
And then nobody ever shook his hand again.
At least not his right hand. That is until they learned he was ambidextrous. Callie squeezed his forearm and leaned so close to him that her big breast bicep. So, how many are you up to now, Artie? Choke. Me. She demanded.
14, I think, maybe 15. And don't call me Artie in public, okay? It diminishes the authority a doctor needs to do his job right. No, it
What?
doesn't.
What?
No, it doesn't.
That just would have been like,
It's just
oh,
a
you're a
shit-
doctor? Cool.
It's just a shit nickname.
But I can call you Artie when we're alone together and I'm kneeling at your feet and your pants are down around your ankles, can't I? What?
I thought you made that up for a second. I was about to ask
Nope.
you what the fuck.
Her
Nope,
eyes
that is
crossed?
literally written on the page.
I was
Dangerous.
gonna say, that's a bit far even for you. What the fuck?
Because if I can't, then maybe I'll have to wash my hair on Friday instead of on Saturday morning, if you know what I mean.
Oh, God.
God damn it. God damn it. Ah, shucks, Callie. Sure, you could call me that if we're somewhere nobody can hear us. It's just, you know, when we're somewhere with lots of people, his voice trailed off as he waved his free hand at the empty parking lot. I always end up hearing that name whenever you are blowing me. So my first thought when I hear it is that it's like a Pavlov situation. And so I'm just immediately erect when you say Artie.
Pops a boner right
Oh.
He just
there.
immediately comes when he hears someone call him that.
Oh, Artie! Ah!
Fuck, I need to change these pants. Ah, god damn it, I was wearing my scrubs.
That's good, Artie. She patted his hand. Shall we go in together? Fucking. Hey.
Not sure why that line got you.
Now, I'm laughing at what y'all have been saying, and when Artie was reiterated, I thought of the whole Pavlov thing in the conversation that y'all just said, and it just...
Already, ugh. Oh, fuck. I just put these pants on.
Oh, boy.
My last clean pair.
Well, maybe you can help me clean them. Anyways, as soon as Jason... Oh, here he is.
The nerdy young assistant stood before them, his eyes fixed on Callie's beautiful cheekbones. That's a sentence I had to read. Okay,
Those are
Doctor.
some nice cheekbones, baby.
Okay, Dr. Nance. It's safe. There's not a singles woman here without a restraining order against you.
You're sure? He inquired. Last Thursday at the Gaieties.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I feel bad about that, he said sadly. But who would have expected Miss Kirigel to be in the bedroom with somebody so early in the party?
Melissa? Asked Callie indignantly. Was she with Walter?
Indulgently. No, he said sardonically. Dorothy. And now I'm getting my inner life flashbacks.
Ah, she said, putting more meaning into the single unbroken syllable than an entire stack of psychology textbook. No? Well, then, if the coast is fuck.
If the coast is fuck.
If the coast is clear, let's go in. Are you coming, Jason?
He blushed at the question and shook his head from side to side. No, Dr. Nance likes me to wait out front, so if anybody on the list shows up, I can warn him before they get within 50 feet of him.
Arthur nodded. Those 50 feet were important. He'd spent a whole night in a country lockup once because he'd thought 50, 40, what's the difference? 10 feet, the cops had told him belligerently, as they had taken his belt and shoelaces and neckties and fingerprints. He tucked Callie's right hand under his left arm and led her inside.
The store is starting to make me sick. It was noisy.
Starting?
The kind of noisy that only happened when you stuffed it. Oh, fuck. Maybe eating KFC before this was a bad idea.
I'm pretty sure eating KFC is always a bad idea.
Yeah.
But you gotta get that famous bowl, man.
Did you know that the actual Colonel Sanders sued KFC?
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because no, wait. Or was it the other? No, it was the other way around. KFC sued the actual Colonel Sanders because the actual Colonel Sanders said that their chicken was terrible. Now remember, he's the face of the company.
But why would they sue him over that?
Imagine if Ronald McDonald said, "Fuck, these burgers are shit."
Ronald McDonald's not real, though.
But what I'm saying is, imagine if the face of your company ended up saying, like, the mascot for your company ended up saying something like that.
He would get fired and maybe a personal
But
assassin put
Colonel
on him.
Sanders was an actual person. He wasn't on their payroll.
That's what I was saying before. Why should they care?
Sued him because it was basically slander against their company.
Who cares if one man... Fucking hell. Company...
You are understanding the situation.
I'm understanding it perfectly. I just think
No,
it's
you're not.
retarded.
The question remains, did he win?
Yes.
Good.
Then who cares?
Well, I'm just finding it funny that they pulled that. It's like when Fox tried to sue the creators of The Simpsons.
Who? Okay. Yeah.
Because they made fun of her of one of the heads of Fox.
Who the hell cares? Freedom of speech.
Well, clearly not the corporations, since one of the corporations gave a shit about anything. That or political parties.
Ugh. True
You think
enough.
those people give a shit about freedom of speech?
Probably not.
Although
Where
at the
was
same
I
time,
again?
slander is illegal. Slander and libel are...
Well,
Fuck.
yeah.
Well,
We'll get into this.
the
later.
kind of noisy...
It was noisy, the kind of noisy
Yeah.
that only happening when you stuff 100 people into a room built for 75. Give them all a couple of high-powered drinks and let the band crank its amps to the max.
Oh,
The air
jeez.
conditioners were probably raising a ruckus too, but who could hear them over the roar of the crowd?
That sounds fucking
so
terrible.
it's a recreation of hell.
Ugh. Sounds like that
Like
sounds
when you go to a restaurant.
terrible.
Like you go to a family restaurant with terrible acoustics, and so the spot you're in, you can hear literally everything, including the screaming children that are in another room.
That sounds very specific.
And you just fucking wish you were dead.
That's every day though.
Let's see. From the far side of the room, Isaac Stevens raised a hand to Arthur and picked his way through the press of humanity to him, pulling a beautiful young woman along with him by the hand. Arthur, he said softly, just the man I've been looking for. He crossed the last 10 feet and thrust out his hand. Hello, Callie.
Oh, Isaac, she responded sedately.
Sedatedly.
Sedated.
She said she'd sedated him.
Now, there's no other D in there. It's just Sedately. So I'm just going to say sedately. But her grip tightened on Arthur's forearm.
It's the sedated. Just put in. Oh fuck! I'm sorry. All I'm picturing now is like this guy just like falling onto the ground in the middle of the party.
Yeah, I really didn't want to deal with that fuck.
Arthur, she said, taking a pull of his drink. She stole his drink? What the fuck?
He said, taking a pull of his drink.
Fuck, okay. I'm
God
dead.
damn it.
I can't read English anymore, guys.
I don't think you've ever been able to.
You're right. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna leave. I'm shameful. I shouldn't be on this.
Keep reading.
Shh, put the Discord leaving thing right here.
No.
No, you're not getting off that. You're not getting off that
The
easily.
shit I have to do for that.
Just get one sound clip. It won't be too hard. Anyways, whatever. And his speech was a little slurred, so it was clear that the vodka in his glass that this wasn't his first drink of the night, or even his fifth for that matter. You know my daughter Irene, don't you?
Yes, of course, he said at once, inwardly glad that Isaac had told her who she was. Because he hadn't really recognized her. Not in this setting, or that skin-tight emerald cocktail gown so low that it made a man want to punch his fist at the sky and shout, "Wee-haw!"
Wee-haw!
That is one of the fucking stupidest things I've ever seen.
This whole book
Fuck.
is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
That's a highlight. That single line is stupider than the entirety of my inner life.
Wee-haw.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's close.
Skin-tight green emerald cocktail gown so low that it made a man want to punch his fist at the sky and shout, "Wee-haw." No, that's stupider than the entirety of that story. Aye.
I'm so mad right now. Wee-haw!
Fuck. Bubbles. Fuck, that didn't... Okay, that made me feel a little bit happier because it is literally impossible to say bubbles in a threatening way. After the last time he'd seen, she was in a dimly lit restaurant on Peach Street, sitting in a booth at the back with Henry Archer, so close that it was hard to tell where one began and the other left off. They were fusing together. It was really fucking freaky. Her right hand under the table, but apparently in Henry's lap, from the contented yet anticipatory gleam in old Henry's good eye.
And Callie, said Isaac, his expression simmering, I do believe I haven't seen you since the funeral. You're looking lovely tonight, my dear, as you always do, whatever the circumstances. May I present my daughter Irene? Irene, this is Mrs. Archer, whose husband Henry died recently.
$10, they're going to compare breast sizes. Callie extended her hand to the blonde young thing and murmured, "It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Irene took a deep breath, some breaths that made her large breasts look as though an anti-gravity beam had just rippled through them, and then took Callie's hands. I wish I were dead. It's very nice to meet you, Mrs. Archer. I'm sorry to hear about your husband.
Why, that's very kind of you, she riposted.
As opposed to Zane, who's been shitposting.
Hey, watching all this, Arthur Nance quirked an eyebrow, but so inconspicuously that no one else but he could see. Very interesting, he thought to himself. Old Henry's widow and old Henry's bereaved mistress pretending not to know each other, when to Arthur's certain knowledge the two had, on more than one occasion, shared the same bed in order to please the old man and make sure he never developed eyes for anyone else. Yes, very interesting, he thought to himself. I wonder what's raising, besides that, I mean, as he subtly adjusted his trousers. God! It's over, thank goodness. I was about to slap somebody. Fucking hell. Of course, right there at the end, another fucking talk of massive titties, because that's all any girl in this has.
It's just another mention of, oh, I'm turned on right now. Fuck yourself.
I will.
Oh god, no, that doesn't help. No. Send it back. I don't want it. That's better. Fuck. It's like I need some therapy. Oh God, why?
It was me, Dio. There we go.
I mean, admittedly, he is a very sexy man.
Well, yeah. He's described on multiple occasions as being like super beautiful and kind of seductive.
That his face does help, even if I want to punch his teeth in most of the time.
Oh yeah, no, Dio's a terrible.
He's at least good eye candy.
Yeah, well,
With his massive biceps and ridiculous quads.
well, that's
It's JoJo proportions. You know
I was
I'm
about-
right.
yeah. I was about to say that's pretty much all the men in JoJo.
It's like they're teenagers. They're like young. They're like 15 years old in this scene. Why are they built like mountains?
Because everyone in
Because-
Japanese anime stuff's way younger than they should be.
But specifically, like, if memory serves, Jotaro, when we first see him, is the same age as Steven in Steven Universe.
He's 15.
No, 14.
No, he's 15, I believe, in Stardust.
That's right.
Crusaders.
Steven Universe is 15 now. Yeah.
Wait,
they're
really?
The same age.
Wait, a cartoon is
Oh,
actually using age progression? What a novel
Yeah,
idea!
Steven Universe has actually had it to where we had an episode where that actually was like him celebrating his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And also address the fact that due to the fact that he's part Jin, his aging is slower than it should be.
And yet there was that one episode where he aged to like old man and like
Yeah,
5
that's a whole
minutes.
old as he feels thing. Gem shape shifting.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well.
if memory serves, like Jotaro's the same age as the girls in Madoka Magica.
Y'all do know
Yeah.
that Craig's still in here, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We should probably sign off before this
He's in the
spirals down
corner
further.
watching us.
I thought he was in the closet.
No, that's you.
It's the corner.
God
club.
damn it!
No. There's something else in the closet.
Well,
It's watching
My
me.
bag of dicks.
I mean, there is that one fucking vampire in this house that's hiding somewhere.
Well, there's not a vampire in my house as far as I can tell.
Well,
Ah,
yes, but that's
if
because
it's
you're
that-
a pansy.
If it's that fucking demon again.
I
I'm
live
not
by
sure why
myself,
you're so
alone.
upset about having a new friend.
New friend. Well, we'll see.
Are you being racist, Tom?
Against what?
Demons.